Hello students, welcome to our class. Today we are going to discuss about the biodiversity and its conservation. The word biodiversity or the biological diversity means it is the variety and variability of the life on the earth. Means the earth shows the variable number of the species that are different in the genetic nature and also morphological appearance. Biodiversity is typically a measure of variation at the genetic, species and ecosystem level. Terrestrial biodiversity is usually greater near the equator, which is result of the warm climate and high primary productivity. Biodiversity is not distributed evenly on the earth. It shows differences of occurrence of different type of species at the different type of geographical area. Let's talk about the levels of biodiversity. So biodiversity is wide ranging and is normally divided into three types or levels, namely genetic diversity, species diversity, ecological diversity or an ecosystem diversity. Let's talk about the genetic diversity. The genetic diversity refers to the variation in genetic composition within or among the species. That means it is the difference that is related to the gene. That means the genetic structure of each and every species is different from each other. So it serves as a way for the populations to adapt to the changing environments. That means if any individual of the population is wanting for the survival in the changing environment, then it must change its genetic structure, which will lead to the genetic variation than the previous structure. So with more variation, it is more likely that some individuals in the population will possess variation of alleles that are suited for the environment. That means that person will show the change in its allele structure, which will make that individual fit into the changing environment. This is called the fittest of survival. That means you have to change according to the changing environment. Then and then that environment will select you for the survival. Those individuals are more likely to survive to produce offsprings bearing that allele. Means the animal or the individual which will show the variation will be capable to produce the offsprings to form the new generation. That means the population will continue for more generations because of the success of these individuals by changing its genetic nature. So this is called genetic diversity that occurs due to the change in environment condition. Let's talk about the species diversity. The species diversity is the measure of biological diversity observed in the particular ecological community, that indicating the number of species or the species richness in an ecological community. Means in the species diversity we just study the amount of species present in the particular ecological community. So that is called the species diversity, means the number and the richness of the species in that particular region. The examples are woodland forest, which comprising about 4 to 5 different species of trees. That means this ecosystem constitute about 4 to 5 different species of trees, and hence it is called as the woodland forest. Like if any ecosystem is made up of 4 to 5 different species of grass, then it is called as the grassland ecosystem. So these are the species diversity, means what kind of species occur in that particular geographical region. Let's talk about the ecological diversity. An ecosystem or an ecological diversity deals with the variation in the ecosystems within a geographical location and its overall impact on the human existence and the environment. An example of ecological diversity on a global scale would be the variation in the ecosystems such as desert, forest, grasslands, wetland and ocean. That means the particular geographical area or particular geographical location is responsible to form the different kind of ecological or ecosystem diversity, and due to this variation in the geographical location, the climate also changes And due to the climate change and geographical location change, the ecosystems are also different at the different geographical locations. Let's see how many species are present on the earth. So there are around 8.7 million species of plants and animals are in existence. However, only around 1.2 million species have been identified and described so far, most of which are insects. That means phylum Arthropoda is the largest one. This means that millions of other organisms remains a complete mystery. These are some living organisms like invertebrates, vertebrates and plants are found on the earth in the particular amount, so you can see in this diagrams and pie chart. Let's talk about the distribution of species in India. So India is a mega diverse country with only 2.4% of the world's land area, and it accounts for the 7 to 8% of all recorded species, including over 45,000 species of plants and 91,000 species of animals. The country's diverse physical features and climate conditions have resulted in the variety of ecosystems such as forest, wetland, grasslands, desert, coastal and marine ecosystems, which harbor and sustain high biodiversity and contribute to the human well-being. 4 of 34 globally identified biodiversity hotspots are present in India, such as the Himalayas, the Western Ghats, the Northeast and the Nicobar Islands can be found only in India, which shows the greater diversity in the occurrence of flora and fauna. Let's talk about the patterns of biodiversity. Darwin noticed the 3 distinctive patterns of biological diversity. First one is species vary globally, second is species vary locally, and third one is the species vary over the time. The first pattern is called as the species vary globally. The species living in the similar habitats but in the different parts of the world, that means different countries, making them distantly related, looked and acted in the similar way. For example, emus found in Australia, rheas found in the South America, ostriches found in the Africa. They are flightless birds. Means these are the species which are present in the same habitat but in the different parts of the world, and hence they show the differences in their characters. The next pattern is species vary locally. The Galapagos Islands are group of the islands relatively close to each other but have different climates. Isabella Mountains are more mountainous with a higher rainfall. Hispaniola Island has lower elevation with dry climate. So each island has its own finch species and tortoise species. Each is adapted to the conditions on that particular islands, and hence they shows the variation in their characters. The third pattern is the species vary over the time. So through the studies of fossil, it was found that some were enormous version of modern day species. For example, modern day armadillo, that is about 50 cm long, and the fossils remains of Glyptodon is 3 meter long, resembles each other. That means by the change of time, each and every species shows the differences in its nature and causes some variations to get adapted to the environment. So this is called species variation over the time. Means by the change of time, each and every species shows some differences. The most important pattern to study is the latitude gradients, which gives the all idea about the species variation. So the species diversity decreases from equator towards the pole. That means to the equator the species diversity is more as compared to the pole. The tropics harbor more species than temperate and polar region. That means in the tropical regions the diversity is greater as compared to the temperate and polar regions. At the temperate and polar region, the diversity is not much more. the population will be greater, but the diversity is not much more. For example, the polar bears. There are so many polar bears in the polar region, but among the polar bears, there is no diversity in their characters. So this is called the greater population but lesser diversity. So the diversity is seen in the equator region, not to the polar and temperate region. For example, Colombia, which is near to the equator, has 1400 species of the birds, whereas New York, which is to the North Pole, has 105 species only. The Greenland, which is to the North Pole, has 56 species only. And the India, which is near to the equator, it has a 1200 species. That means the countries or the regions which are near to the equator are greater in diversity, and the countries or the region which are near to the pole, these are lesser in the diversity. That means diversity increases to the equator and it is decreases towards the pole. Let's talk about the species area relationship, which is the last pattern of the biodiversity. So the Alexander von Humboldt has observed that within a region, species richness gets increased when explored area is increased, but only up to the certain limit. That means the relation between the species richness and area for a number of taxa like angiospermic plants, freshwater fishes and birds is found to be in a rectangular hyperbola. That means when there will be the increase in area, there will be the increase in number of the species, and obviously the diversity will also be increased. Let's talk about the importance of species diversity in ecosystem. So in an ecosystem, all the species depends on each other directly or indirectly. So to make a more efficient, productive and sustainable ecosystem, it is important to maintain the high species diversity. Colonization of the tropical Pacific islands by humans is said to have led to the extinction of more than 2000 species of native birds. The IUCN Red List released in 2004 documents that the extinction of 784 species. Some examples of recent extinctions includes the dodo in the Mauritius, quagga in Africa, thylacine in Australia, Steller sea cow in the Russia, and 3 subspecies Bali, Javan, Caspian of tiger. Loss of biodiversity in a region may lead to decline in the plant production, lowered resistance to the environmental perturbation such as drought, increased variability to certain ecosystem possesses some good things such as plant productivity, water use and pest and disease cycles. So that means these things are causing the loss of biodiversity, and if you will protect the biodiversity, then some good things will happen as our nature will get more healthy and the ecosystem will be greater in its variability. So what are the things that are responsible to cause the loss of biodiversity? First is the habitat loss and fragmentation. So it is the most important cause of the driving animals and plants to extinction. The most intense example of the habitat loss come from the tropical rainforest. The Amazon rainforest, protecting probably millions of species, are being cut and cleaned for the agricultural purpose or for conversion to the grassland for the raising beef cattle. In addition to the total loss, the degradation of several habitats by pollution also threatens the existence of many species. This is the picture of that Amazon forest, which is now used for the agricultural field, and it is also converted into the grassland ecosystem just to increase the beef cattle. Second thing which is responsible for the loss of biodiversity is the overexploitation. Humans are always dependent on the nature for the food and shelter. The population explosion is the major reason for the overexploitation of the available resources. Many species extinctions in the last 500 years, such as Steelers sea cow, passenger's pigeon, were due to the overexploitation by the humans. Currently, several marine fish populations around the world are over-harvested, threatening the sustained existence of the certain commercial important species also. So that means the human is getting more and more selfish, and he is responsible for the extinction of these species in the nature. Now this is almost the extinct species, which is the result of overexploitation by the human. The third reason is the alien species introduction. And alien species are introduced by the chance of deliberately. Some of them turn aggressive and causes the extinction of the local species. The Nile perch introduced into the Lake Victoria in East Africa lead ultimately to the extinction of naturally unique group of the more than 200 species of cichlid fish in the lake. The illegal introduction of the African catfish Clarias garipinus for aquaculture purposes is posing a danger to the local. That means these harmful species are introduced with the local species, and it causes the extinction of that local species. This is the catfish which is used for the aquaculture, but indirectly it is responsible for the damage and the extinction of the local species. The fourth reason which is responsible for the loss of biodiversity is the co-extinction. When a species becomes extinct, the flora and the fauna related to it in an essential way also become extinct. That means if you are dependent on the particular organism for your nutrition, and if that organism is destroyed, then you will be automatically destroyed. That means in the ecosystem, each and every organism is dependent on each other. So whenever the host will be destroyed, then you will be automatically destroyed, because you are getting the nutrition from that particular organism. When a host fish species becomes extinct, it's a unique assemblage of parasites also meets the same destiny. So this is called co-extinction. That means when the host is destroyed, the parasite will be automatically destroyed. After all, the one question arises, why to conserve the biodiversity? So the answer is very simple. We should conserve the biodiversity to save it from becoming extinct. That means if the biodiversity will be damaged, then the all living life will be damaged. So just to protect us, just to protect our nature, just to protect our ecosystem, we must protect and we must conserve our biodiversity. So what are the ways in which we can conserve our biodiversity? So there are mainly two ways. First is in situ conservation and second is ex situ conservation. So in situ conservation of biodiversity is the conservation of species within their natural habitat. In this method, the natural ecosystem is maintained and protected. For example, if any species is present in the forest, then it is protected in the forest. If any species is present in the pond ecosystem, then it is protected in the pond ecosystem. That means that species is protected within its natural habitat, not in the artificial laboratory. So the in situ conservation has several advantages, as it is cost effective and a convenient method of conserving the biodiversity. A large number of living organisms can be conserved simultaneously, and since the organisms are in a natural ecosystem, they can evolve better. And second way is called as the ex situ conservation. So the ex situ conservation of biodiversity involves the breeding and the maintenance of endangered species in artificial ecosystems such as zoos, nurseries, botanical gardens, gene bank, etc. Means we will conserve these species out of their natural habitats by the artificial technique. So there is less competition for food, water and space among the organisms. Ex situ conservation has some following advantages. The animals are provided with a longer time and breeding activity. The species bred in captivity can be introduced. Some genetic techniques can be used for the conservation or the preservation of the endangered species, for example, as a tissue culture. In this picture, you can see some examples of ex situ and in situ conservation method. So, ex situ conservation method includes the captive breeding like zoos, botanical gardens, and seed banks. The in situ conservation includes some nature reserves, national parks, marine parks, biosphere reserves, etc. In this manner, we have studied that how much the biodiversity is important for us and how much it is important to protect and to conserve our biodiversity. So, we must be careful about plantation of trees, limited use of vehicles, and also protect the nature by using the natural sources. So, plant the trees and conserve our biodiversity because we are also the biodiversity. Use greenery, get more oxygen, and get more healthy. So this is all about the biodiversity and its a conservation. I hope it will help you in your easy learning process. Keep growing, keep learning, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.